Hello and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News on this New Year's Eve, Wednesday, December 31st. I'm Grant Olson. Here's some of the stories that we have coming up for you tonight. The Washington State Department of Transportation plans to reopen a section of Highway 2 near Skykomish on Sunday. Authorities have identified the Tonasket man shot and killed by law enforcement during an arrest warrant operation. Wet and warmer weather on the horizon with rain and snow turning to all rain this weekend. Your full local weather forecast is straight ahead. Investigators say they've connected a residential fire that killed 2 people last August to an arson suspect who died 1 week after the incident. The Chelan County Sheriff's Office says Jason William Glanton, 41 years old, of Brewster, is the suspect in the August 21st fire at 418 East Wooden Avenue. The fire killed 2 occupants in the 2-story home, 63-year-old Nada D. Davidson and 67-year-old Michael W. Tappy. About 9 people were in the home at the time. 2 suffered injuries before escaping. Sheriff's Chief of Special Operations Ryan Moody said Tuesday that detectives identified Glanton as the primary suspect 3 days after the fire and alerted neighboring police agencies to be on the lookout for him. The Brewster Police Department located Glanton after his death on August 28th when he collapsed from a deep vein thrombosis. Moody said when Glanton's body was found, the backs of his legs displayed severe burns, indicating that he'd been facing away from a fire or explosion. The Wenatchee Valley YMCA announced an agreement on Tuesday that will ensure the long-term future of the Lake Wenatchee YMCA camp. Donor Dean Weidner, CEO of Weidner Apartment Homes, has purchased the camp property and will lease the campsite back to the YMCA for $10 per year for 99 years. Weidner also provided a $2 million endowed gift to support the camp's programming. The YMCA announced the campsite would be put up for sale in April due to financial losses and fewer local children enrolled. The organization planned to develop a localized outdoor recreation center on its new campus. Moving forward with the new agreement, the new Lake Wenatchee camp will pause programming in 2026 to revamp its offerings and is anticipated to resume overnight camp programming in 2027. The Washington State Department of Transportation plans to reopen a section of Highway 2 near Skykomish on Sunday. The route across the Cascades was badly impaired after the December 10th atmospheric river event, which flooded parts of the road and undermined others. The stretch from Skykomish to Stevens Pass Resort will be open 24 hours. However, the road at milepost 64 will close every day at 6 p.m. as pilot cars only operate during the day on the east side of the pass. Those pilot car operations will continue from Stevens Pass Resort to Mill Creek Road with alternating one-way traffic in each direction. From Mill Creek Road to Coles Corner, Highway 2 will be open in both directions daily from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The section in Tumwater Canyon to Leavenworth is still closed due to washouts, with access available only through Chumstick Highway. Governor Bob Ferguson announced the reopening in a Skykomish press conference Tuesday with 12th District legislators in attendance.
One thing we do want to emphasize, as wonderful as this news is, and it is fantastic news, we are mindful that the highway itself, the whole highway from here all the way to Leavenworth, will not reopen as it was, full access 24 hours a day, for many months. We just want to be really super clear about that. Restrictions are going to be remaining in place. You'll hear more about that shortly. And so really, this is not intended as a through route all the way to Leavenworth, right? It's wonderful access to the pass, but those restrictions are significant. They're time consuming if you're trying to get all the way to Leavenworth. So we're going to be encouraging folks to continue using I-90, for example, to get to the other side of the mountains. But for accessing the pass and skiing, this is a huge step forward. We're so excited about it.
Chelan County Commissioners officially closed the sale last week of 19 acres in Malaga to the Center of Drug and Alcohol for its new facility. The center, which offers inpatient and detox programs, is currently housed in a county-owned building on Okanagan Avenue that needs extensive renovation. In 2023, the center received $19.6 million for an expanded facility through the state's capital budget. The county purchased the Malaga property for $2.65 million and sold it to the center for the same price. Construction on the new facility is set to begin in 2026. When we come back, Chelan Fire and Rescue Commissioners are looking for candidates to fill a vacancy on their board. And we will introduce you to a dwarf rabbit named Truffle up for adoption at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
When flooding hit Serve Wenatchee, their office and Fresh Hope Market were devastated. But their mission to help prevent homelessness in this valley hasn't stopped, and neither will we. I'm Todd McLaughlin, General Manager at Apple Valley Honda. Now through the end of the year, we're donating $25 to Serve Wenatchee every time someone takes a test drive. And if you happen to buy a vehicle, we'll give an additional $100 in your name. Because when our neighbors are in need, this community steps up, and we're proud to be part of that.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
There's no place like home, because home is where we're totally comfortable. It's where we can be ourselves and let our guards down. It's where we make memories, and we're always imagining new ways to keep it totally comfortable. Carrier, total comfort, totally happy.
Call Alpine Air Heating and Cooling today. Your comfort is their priority.
Authorities have identified the Tonasket man shot and killed by law enforcement during an arrest warrant operation. 40-year-old Samuel A. Mittler died September 19th as the U.S. Marshals Service Special Operations Group closed in on him near the intersection of Spur Drive and Summit Lake Road. It's about 10 miles east of Ellisford. Mittler had been wanted on Okanagan County warrants charging him with assault and intimidating a public servant. Investigators say Mittler wielded a shotgun in the confrontation with police. Sheriff Paul Boudreau asked the North Central Washington Special Investigation Unit to examine the case. The team reviews police use of force incidents in the region. Chelan Fire and Rescue Commissioners are looking for candidates to fill a vacancy on their board. The board is left one person short after the departure of Ron Simmons, who was just elected to a new term in November. The open seat with the fire district's governing body has a term of 6 years and will conclude on December 31st, 2032. Interested community members can find applications, which are due on January 30th, at chelan7.com or in person at 232 East Wapato Avenue. Interviews will take place from February 2nd to February 4th, and the selected candidate will be announced on February 6th. We won't be bringing you the NCWLIFE Evening News for the rest of this week, which means no pause for pets, but we thought we'd share with you the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society's latest featured animal up for adoption. It's a young Netherland dwarf rabbit named Truffle. This young fellow is small in size, but sweet in personality. If you're interested in adopting Truffle or any of the pets kept at the Humane Shelter, you can give them a call at 662-9577 or visit WenatcheeHumane.org. Coming up next, at the end of each year, our news team looks back to find the stories that made the past 12 months unique and unforgettable. Tonight, we wrap up our retrospective as we say goodbye to the last 12 months. If you're out and about ringing in the new year late tonight, the weather looks chilly but dry. I'll have your local weather details coming up, followed by Eric Granstrom with all the day's sports news as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues after these messages.
In 1964, two high school pals opened up a pizza parlor. Over 60 years later, their mission of providing a great value and family-friendly environment continues to thrive. And what's been their customers' favorite pizza since day one? The Abby's Special. This classic combo of pepperoni, salami with olives, mushrooms, beef, and sausage, and 100% real cheese tastes as good today as it did way back then. Enjoy great value and classic pizza at your neighborhood Abby's.
Central Washington Water understands the power of healing waters. If part of your wellness routine includes hot heat from a sauna, Central Washington Water now carries indoor and outdoor infrared and hot rock saunas by Tilo. Research shows there are many health benefits to a cold plunge after a good workout or relaxing time in your sauna. Harness the power of water in a hot spring spa, plug-and-play spas, a Tilo sauna, or a cold plunge tub. Stop by Central Washington Water, your wellness experts.
Looking back on the news from 2025 is almost as much work as living through it. Our staff reviewed the stories that had the most impact for us and our viewers in this wild and crazy year. You may have seen our first two installments, Monday and Tuesday. Tonight we wrap up our retrospective as we say goodbye to the last 12 months.
In September of 2025, two local wildfires were triggered by the same dry lightning storm on Labor Day. The Lower Sugarloaf Fire ignited east of Plain, while the Labor Mountain Fire was kindled northeast of Clay Elum. That fire soon burned across the county line to threaten Chelan County communities, including Wenatchee and Blewett Pass. Between them, the two fires would consume nearly 86,000 acres of wildland by November, while firefighters' efforts helped to spare homes and property in the area. It could have been a tragedy, but a quick-thinking semi-driver averted disaster when his vehicle lost its brakes heading downhill on Grant Road. The semi was hauling a load of harvested pears and heading west on Grant when the brakes failed. The 21-year-old driver maneuvered through the intersections at Valley Mall Parkway and Highway 28, then intentionally rolled the vehicle on the bypass at the foot of Grant Road outside Fred Meyer. No other vehicles were struck, and the driver suffered only minor injuries. Wenatchee Valley College parted ways with its Vice President of Administrative Services, Brett Riley. WVC President Famous Harrison said the decision not to retain Riley was made due to the college's financial health. Riley, who joined the college in 2017, oversaw new campus construction developments, including the Michie building. In a breakthrough the entire Wenatchee Valley had been hoping for, searchers found the remains of child murder suspect Travis Decker, the subject of a national manhunt after the killing of his 3 children along the Icicle River. Parts of Decker's skeleton were found with the help of an aerial drone on Grindstone Mountain, not far from the murder scene. The bones were positively identified as those of the 33-year-old Decker. Dozens of police agencies had spent hundreds of hours over the previous months combing the area around the crime scene and deep into the Enchantment's wilderness. In October 2025, an early morning flood temporarily closed the Serve Wenatchee Valley office and Fresh Hope Market on Orondo Avenue after a water line broke. The Wenatchee nonprofit hosted a market and other services for low-income clients. Executive Director Mike Malman and his staff were able to relocate to an East Wenatchee site while the damage to their building is repaired. On National Hydrogen Day, the Douglas County PUD cut the ribbon on a hydrogen manufacturing project years in the making. The $27 million plant in the industrial Baker Flats area is designed to produce hydrogen fuel through electrolysis for consumer and industrial purposes. The Wenatchee and East Wenatchee police departments disabled a default setting on their flock safety surveillance systems after learning that the U.S. Border Patrol was able to access their license plate data without their knowledge. Washington law forbids local police agencies from cooperating with most federal immigration matters. A review by the University of Washington found that Flock had a default setting that gave Border Patrol access to its data, while individual departments that held contracts with the company were unaware. That discovery, plus a finding by a Skagit County judge that Flock's surveillance video is subject to disclosure as a public record, led Wenatchee police to disable their cameras entirely 2 months later. In November, a crucial boost to the operating levy for Eastmont Metro Parks and Recreation failed as the general election came to a close. The yes votes trailed by more than 9%. The levy lid lift would have boosted the park's taxation rate for property owners from 15 cents to 22 cents per $1,000 of assessed value. Supporters say consequences could include the closure of the Eastmont Aquatic Center and program cuts across the board. 68-year-old Adnan Abuamo of East Wenatchee was found shot to death inside his vehicle along Highway 28, about 7 miles south of BB Bridge. 1 day later, a police team arrested 16-year-old Juan Valdovinos Vasquez of Bridgeport on suspicion of his murder. Police believe Valdovinos may have arranged to meet with Abuamo to discuss buying gold or jewelry. Abuamo was the executive director of TranCare, a Wenatchee-based nonprofit that gives transportation for low-income patients who need to reach medical appointments. Sandy Zarate, a Wenatchee Valley dance instructor, became one of 50 people statewide to be honored for outstanding contributions to the public humanities. Humanities Washington is a state-run nonprofit that funds cultural programs. The agency bestowed its annual award to Zarate and 49 other recipients across the state. Zarate has taught free Mexican folkloric dance classes with the Peshastin Public Library for the last 4 years. Wenatchee Valley College trustees voted to keep President Famous Harrison in his position for the next 3 years. Harrison was the target of criticism over the college's handling of harassment and personnel matters in 2025, which put WVC's accreditation in jeopardy. But the vote to extend Harrison's contract was unanimous. The new agreement runs through 2029 and will pay Harrison more than $275,000. The Chelan Douglas Health District reached a $1.3 million settlement with patients whose private health information was compromised in a data breach more than 4 years ago. The computer intrusion in 2021 allowed hackers to make off with personal data belonging to roughly 188,000 people. A class action suit followed, and both sides agreed to a settlement that would pay up to $5,000 per person for proven financial losses, plus up to $599 additionally. A head-on crash near Wenatchee's Easy Street roundabout killed 2 young passengers and severely injured their driver. 12-year-old Bentley Knight and 14-year-old Eric Figueroa died from their injuries. Both were from East Wenatchee. The driver, 18-year-old Jared Smith, was hospitalized. Police say the crash may have resulted from an illicit street race. It remains under investigation. No charges have been filed. In December, a pair of auto crashes on Highway 97 and 97A proved fatal for 2 people and injured 6 others. One of the wrecks involved a Douglas County police pursuit, while the other left a Cascade High School bus full of student athletes flipped onto its side. The crash on 97A involved a Ford Ranger colliding head-on with a school bus carrying Leavenworth wrestlers to a meet in Chelan. A 63-year-old passenger in that pickup truck died, and bus driver Jose Solis was injured, but the students on board were spared. An Eastmont School Board member was charged with domestic violence in December. Jason Hines, recently re-elected to the board, was accused of assaulting his teenage daughter and stalking his former fiancée. He was briefly jailed at the Chelan County Regional Justice Center. The Eastmont School Board will likely consider Hines' status in January. The next court hearing in his criminal case is scheduled for late February. Powerful winds and more than half an inch of rain swelled rivers and left 11,000 Chelan County households without power. Highway 2 collapsed in places and was washed out in others, and residents in western Chelan County spent up to 3 days in the dark. The village of Stehekin suffered the destruction of its water treatment plant in a landslide, and the Lutheran Retreat Center at Holden Village was evacuated for the winter after being cut off from its access road. The Wenatchee River at Peshastin crested at more than 16 feet, and more than a dozen people in the Leavenworth and Lake Wenatchee areas needed rescue as their homes were inundated. In the wake of December's atmospheric river event, Washington became the site of a federally declared disaster. Jefferson Robbins, NCWLIFE.
Time now to take a look at your North Central Washington weather forecast, and hope you had a fantastic final day of 2025. Weather-wise, kind of like you'd expect for the end of December, although we did see plenty of sunshine, and that made for a beautiful shot outside our weather window this afternoon up at Lake Wenatchee, and lots of blue skies. As I mentioned, hardly a cloud in sight throughout most of the area today. And if you're out and about late tonight and heading towards midnight, it's not going going to be too bad out there. We'll see temperatures mostly in the upper 20s here in the Wenatchee area, partly cloudy and light winds, so just a little bit chilly out there if you are going to stay out a little bit later on tonight. And as we make our way into 2026, things will begin to get a little bit wet, especially tomorrow night. We'll see highs generally in the mid to upper 30s. Friday and Saturday, our best days for some rain mixed with snow Friday, changing to all rain on Saturday, mainly because we're going to see high temperatures in the 40s. And then by Sunday, once again, just a slight chance that we will see a mix of rain and snow. So it does get wet and it does get warmer as we head into the first part of the new year. Unofficially today, 34 degrees, 2 degrees above where we should be for our normal high, which is 32. Our record 1998, our record high 49 degrees. We were at 21 this morning. That's 2 degrees below normal for our low for the first time in a long time. 23 is our normal low. And I'll tell you what, 1968, it was a cold end of the year. 13 below the record low, and that's the third day in a row that 1968 has had the record low. Sunrise 7:48, and the sun set this afternoon at 4:20. All right, taking a look at what we can expect for 2026 and our New Year's Day. 34 for Moses Lake, Ephrata, and Quincy. I think Wenatchee will sneak up to 34 as well tomorrow. And then a lot of 33s from Cashmere into Chelan, Entiat, also Lake Wenatchee. You will see a high tomorrow of about 30 degrees. So a little bit chilly, but about normal for this time of year. Tonight, mostly clear skies. Our ridge of high pressure will stay over us one more day, and that'll means chilly overnight lows tonight with temperatures mainly in the mid-20s. And then as we get you into New Year's Day, happy 2026, mostly cloudy skies. Here is our next weather maker moving its way inland from the Pacific. We'll see about a 30% chance for rain mixed with snow with high temperatures in the low 30s tomorrow. For your Friday, cloudy skies as double shot of low pressure begins to really bring some clouds our way and some showers, a 50% chance. I think mainly evening rain and snow showers for Wenatchee. High temperatures in the mid-30s. And then as that system continues to make its way inland, we will see an even better chance for rain on Saturday, a 70% chance for the wet stuff. The good news, we're going to warm up with high temperatures right around 40 degrees to kick off our weekend. Those warm temperatures will continue as well as we get into Sunday. Little trough of low pressure off our coast may kick off some showers Sunday afternoon. We are going to see plenty of clouds involved with high temperatures Sunday. Can you believe it? For the first week of January into the low 40s. And then as we get you into the first full week of January on Monday, mostly cloudy skies. Still a bit of an area of low pressure just off the coast. That could kick off some mainly rain showers for us on Monday if we see anything. Highs again in the low 40s. And then some quieter weather moves our way as we get you into Tuesday. Still cloudy. We'll see mild temperatures with high temperatures on Tuesday, right around 40 degrees. All right, taking a look at your 7-day forecast now, and it's brought to you by Colonial Vista Senior Living in Wenatchee, where comfort, care, and community come together. 26 overnight tonight. Happy New Year for Thursday. We could see a 30% chance for rain mixed with snow and 32. That goes up to a 50% chance to a wintry mix on Friday and 34. And then as we warm up, we switch over to all rain showers on Saturday, a 70% chance and 40 degrees with just a slight chance for showers both Sunday and Monday and 41. Mostly cloudy, still mild for Tuesday with a high temperature then of 40 degrees. And that's a look at your North Central Washington weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
And a happy New Year's Eve to you. Seattle's biggest game of the season is their final game of the season, Saturday night against the 49ers. Seahawks have a chance to wrap up the division title and the #1 overall seed in the NFC. Saturday night's game kicks off at 5 o'clock at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. You can watch the game on ABC and ESPN. The Rams finish the season at home Sunday at 1:25 against Arizona. That will be on Fox. Gonzaga was tested on the road at San Diego last night in a high-scoring affair in men's college basketball. 7th-ranked Bulldogs came out on top 99-93 as Jalen Worley came off the bench, scored 22 points. Tyon Grant Foster had 18. Seattle U knocked off Washington State at Climate Pledge Arena last night, 69-55. The Red Hawks will face Gonzaga back at Climate Pledge Friday at 6 on ESPN+. Washington State will host Loyola Marymount Friday night at 6:30. Eastern Washington visits Idaho Saturday at 2. That'll be on the Plus. Cougars play at Oregon State Sunday at 4:30 on ESPN+. Washington visits Indiana at 5 on the Big Ten Network. Gonzaga finishes the weekend Sunday at home against Loyola Marymount. That will be at 6 o'clock. Lauren Whitaker had another good game for Gonzaga as the Bulldogs dominated Pepperdine 75-52. Jaden and Haley chipped in 21 points. The women's schedule begins tomorrow with Washington hosting #6 Michigan at 3 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. Gonzaga visits Seattle U Friday night at 6, while Washington State visits Portland. Eastern Washington will host Idaho Saturday at 2 on ESPN+. Sunday wraps up with Gonzaga at Santa Clara at noon. Washington State plays at Seattle U at 1 o'clock. Cashmere, Tonasket, and Pateros each picked up wins in prep girls basketball yesterday. The Bulldogs beat Chelan. The Tigers down Jenkins Chewelah, and Pateros knocked off Forks over in Mount Vernon Christian. Other action last night, Ridgeline beat Moses Lake. Lakeside 9 Mile Falls down Lake Roosevelt in Reardon 54-33. The Giesa Credit Union Winter Shootout begins tomorrow at Eastmont and Wenatchee High Schools. The Panthers host Central Valley at 5:30, while Eastmont welcomes University. Friday's matchup have Eisenhower at Wenatchee at 5:30, while Eastmont takes on Cedar Crest. The shootout wraps up Saturday with West Valley at Eastmont at 1, while Wenatchee is hosting University. For the smaller schools on Friday, Cascade hosts Cashmere at 3:30. Ephrata visits Othello at 5:30, while Quincy visits Ellensburg. On Saturday, Quincy hosts East Valley at 1:30. Cascade travels to College Place. Omak hosts Okanagan at 2:30. Ephrata plays host to Ellensburg at 3:30. Cashmere welcomes Wahluke at 3:45 in the afternoon. A busy B schedule Friday begins at 2 with Liberty Bell hosting Elmira Cooley Heartline. Curlew plays at Oroville at 2:30. Waterville Mansfield welcomes Davenport at 4. Antioch plays at Bridgeport at 4:30, while Tonasket travels to Valley Christian. Brewster hosts Okanagan at 6, while Moses Lake Christian visits DeSales. The Waterville Mansfield girls play at Curlew Saturday at 1 o'clock. Manson is on the road at Kittitas at 1:30. Omak hosts Okanagan at 2:30. Lake Roosevelt hosts White Swan at 3:30. Brewster visits Cle Elum at 5 o'clock. Boys basketball yesterday, Brewster beat Kingsway Christian in the Sundome, 59-55 the final. Quincy picked up a win over La Center, also in the Sundome. Peninsula beat Lake Roosevelt by 30. Ridgeline topped Moses Lake, 75-53. Tonasket took down Jenkins Chewelah, and Chelan down Cashmere, 64-51. Here's the boys schedule for the Giesa Credit Union Winter Shootout. Begins tomorrow night at 7:30 with Wenatchee hosting Cheney, while University plays at Eastmont. Eastmont hosts Squim Friday night, while University plays at Wenatchee. Saturday's 2:30 games finds Cheney at Eastmont, while Wenatchee is hosting Sandpoint. For the 1A and 2A schools, Friday Cashmere visits Cascade at 5 o'clock. Ephrata visits Othello at 7, while Quincy plays at Ellensburg. Quincy returns home to host East Valley Saturday at 3 o'clock, while Cascade plays at College Place. Omak is hosting Okanagan at 4. Ellensburg visits Ephrata at 5. Cashmere hosts Wahluke at 5:15. Liberty Bell boys host Elmira Cooley Heartline Friday night at 3:30. Oroville hosts Curlew at 4. Manson visits Wilbur Creston Keller at 5. Waterville Mansfield hosts Davenport at 5:30. Antioch at Bridgeport at 6, while Tonasket visits Valley Christian. The 7:30 games Friday night have Okanagan at Brewster, while Moses Lake Christian visits DeSales. Shockers will play at Curlew Saturday at 2:30. Manson visits Kittitas at 3. Brewster plays at Cle Elum at 3:30. Omak hosts Okanagan at 4, while White Swan visits Lake Roosevelt. That will be at 5 o'clock. Finally, Valley. Local wrestling teams will be at two big tournaments on Saturday. Moses Lake and 14 other teams will be at the Claws Out Classic at Tahoma Saturday morning starting at 8 o'clock. Cascade is hosting the Bavarian Invitational up in Leavenworth. That starts Saturday morning at 10. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Have a very happy New Year. Be safe and sane out there, and we'll see you next year.
And that will do it for this New Year's Eve edition of the NCWLIFE Evening News. Remember, if you see news happening, let us know. Email your news tips to news@ncwlife.com or just give us a call at 888-6295. Our channel is also available on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. We will be off tomorrow and Friday and then back with you again on Monday. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks so much for being with us, and from all of us at the NCWLIFE channel, best wishes for a healthy and happy New Year.